whole chest throbs with that. Your feet, the structure under your feet rattles. I'm pulling up this skylight here. We had a leak. I don't know how this thing leaked. I flashed the crap out of it before, but we're putting in a 4-footer, and there's a drain here that clogs, and when it does, a lake is created up here. And it clogs because, you know, homeowners don't frequently come up on the roof and deal with stuff like that like they should. So we're going to have to solve that drainage issue. And hopefully moving the skylight up. It'll come 2 feet up higher this way. Span that. It's going to be a 4-foot light, which is here in this box. And that's how I'm getting stuff up here. Back in the van right up to the wall and making that happen. So fun, not fun. All right, so yeah, I bought the 4x4s to make the frame on the roof for the skylight, but it turns out they're too wide. I got to get 2x4s, but they came in handy for this. So I could shore up those 2 joists. I have to cut this one here back still, and then I'm going to put a header across here, and then put another header across here. Excuse me. And then I'll get my width, and I'll put another header this way and this way between those 2. And then, yeah, so the new skylight is going to be about 24 inches or so away from that wall over. It's going to come into where you see here, a little bit more. So we're sneaking it up on the a little bit of the higher end of the roof to help avoid this huge dip that's over here, so it doesn't, hopefully it won't flood again. We'll see how it works out. But man, what a ton of work. It took me half the day to get this room organized enough to put the plastic in, which sometimes the clients are like that. They don't move anything, so it adds time. But that's it. So yeah, I came in this morning and I got this all in, and you can see now this big support's gone, and this header is carrying those 2 joists here, and I got this all framed in. I got some brackets up, and I'm putting brackets on the outside of this header here so my trim will be cleaner, and so you watch that. But I had this other thing on my mind because it's funny to me, and it's always funny when people who disagree with something that you said or have the wrong take on it, they'll do a couple things. One is the Strawman argument. So we're going to get into this here in a moment. The Strawman argument and how they'll transfer what's going on in their mind to other people, accuse other people of what they're actually engaging in, like with the triggering thing. So me responding to this is not because I'm triggered. I'm doing it because I think it's funny. And I've mentioned it before, those of you who've been here longer, like every once in a while I get somebody in my comments and they'll start giving me stuff, and I am not bothered by it. They're not in my head. I'm not losing sleep over it. It's fun for me. It gives me a chance to discuss things with you and help us all understand the world better. Okay, so I am breaking for lunch. It's after 1 o'clock. Oh, gladiator watch cuff right there. So I hope I didn't screw this up. As I was saying, it's just funny to me. That last video I did, it's not about politics. It's about how you should be a good person when you meet people and get to know them, so that if those subjects come up and then people hear something they don't agree with, they know you're still a good person, right? If you read those comments underneath that video, the overwhelming majority of people understood that point, are cool with it. Some of them talked directly to some of the points I made in there, and they're happy about that. And there's 3 or 4 people max so far that are were triggered to the point where they had to respond in a way to let me know that they don't agree with me. Now, that is an interesting thing. I see things and hear things and read things all the time, every day, social media and whatnot, and I'm not going to take the time to tell some stranger that I don't know how much I don't agree with them. That's a weird thing, man. But I understand it psychologically speaking, because you find somebody and you're like, oh, I like this person, I like what they do and what their content is. Uh-oh, they said something I don't agree with. they've got to let you know what they think for some reason. I'm probably not even going to ever meet them. And it's okay that they don't see eye to eye with me, but if you're just going to make a statement but then not back it up, that's not an argument. And when you say argument's not a bad thing. An argument's just, they use that in debate, right? But anyhow, the point is, I took a break a little while ago and I checked my messages on the phone, which I shouldn't do. I should have just looked at the watch. I think my watch was off because there was too much dust falling out of the ceiling. That's why you always wear your watch, so you don't get lost in your phone. And there was a thing from this guy accusing me of being triggered because I responded to his last comment. So I just said, you're funny, and now I'm going to do a video about you and your comment. So hopefully, when I get back to the pad, make my lunch, he didn't erase the comments. Hopefully they're still there, because I'll take a picture of the computer screen, and that's what you're going to see next. Okay, you'll be able to screenshot this. So the first thing, this is from this at FM-YV6LM. I don't know what the heck that even is, but yeah. So 6 replies. So I asked him to find fault with what I said, and then he wrote this, which is interesting. And so he gets into the Keystone Pipeline. Just want to point out, I never mentioned the Keystone Pipeline, and I'm going to address that in a moment. Then he gets into Donald Trump adopted excellent economy, which again, another misnomer there. Passed tax bills to benefit his business. Cutting corporate taxes improved the economy across the board with companies because they had more money to invest in their own companies. And 2020 pundits were expressing concerns about the hyperinflation. Okay, I'll get into that as well. So let's see if I can remember all this while I'm cooking lunch. Hang on. All right. Bear with me here. Totally unprofessional, but I got to eat and I got to get back to work, right? So as far as the pipeline, that's an interesting thing to bring up. This is why I talk about it being a straw man argument, because I didn't say anything about the pipeline, okay? And the pipeline doesn't have anything to do with oil production. What I said, and I recommend that you pause this and go back and watch the video. I'll put a link to it in the description. What I said was that got a pork chop in there I should cook up, but I'm not going to do it right now. What I said was that Trump had us producing more of our own oil from different technologies, including shale and fracking and all that. And it was a cleaner oil, by the way. And what that did was, having the U.S. be a net energy exporter and producing our own oil, that lowered the prices of oil coming out of all the other places, which hurt the economies of those countries. Many of those countries can be considered enemies of ours. So I still stand by that. And what he said about the pipeline, has nothing to do with oil production. The Keystone Pipeline is about transporting oil from one point to another. That oil is still being produced. A pipeline is your most cost-effective, safest way to transport oil across land. What are your other options? I guess you got rail, you got trucks, right? Now think about that, and all the oil, energy expenditure that it takes to transport oil from one place to another over land. So the other thing about a pipeline is, I'm not getting into the minutia of this with the politics and the land and all that other stuff. That's a whole other discussion, all right? Not saying I agree with all that. I'm just trying to make a point here. It's the problem with people who don't want to agree with you. They want to latch on to one thing that's part of what you said and try to attack you for it. So the thing about a pipeline is that's permanent jobs, because a pipeline, even after it's constructed, it needs people to inspect it regularly, and it needs people to maintain it regularly. So there are permanent jobs associated with that. So that hurts. You take that away, that hurts. Now, I've got to go look and see what the other thing was, because I don't remember. I'm still cooking. Okay, the fact that when people say that Donald Trump inherited an excellent economy, That's nonsense. Now, if you have a regular job, you don't own your own business, you might not have felt it like I did, but those Obama years, man, I was holding on by my fingernails for 8 years. It was very, very difficult for me, those 8 years, because during that administration, there was too much uncertainty in the markets. And towards the end, people were trying to, because you got to figure, it was 8 years where people weren't spending money, they were holding on to money. I'm not a need guy, I'm a want guy, all right? What does that mean? That means you don't call me because you need some door repaired necessarily, right? Especially at that time. Before Obama came in, I was doing very well and I'm kind of semi-retired. Keep in mind, I don't even like working all that much. But I was just building furniture. I was a furniture snob. I didn't want to go back to regular carpentry. So during those years, I was hustling, man, whatever I could do to make money. But all my clients stopped spending money. And these are people with money. And when I asked them what was going on, they told me the markets are too uncertain. They don't know what's going on. They didn't have the money. They were taking a hit in the stock market. At the end, before Obama left, what that really was about was the anticipation of a sea change. When Trump started talking about running, things instantly, this is 2 years really before the election started, he started talking about it. And that's what kind of infused and helped people think to themselves, oh, we got a chance here. And I also think that he was serious about it from the beginning, and so the people that knew what was going on. So I think that Trump actually had more of a impact on the last couple of years of the Obama administration with the economy than people will give him credit for. What was the other thing already? I can't remember what the heck this other stuff was. But, this whole thing that reports say the economy was growing. Listen, here's the thing about reports, all right? You can call me a conspiracy theorist all you want, but I think that for many, many years, our government has been, it's a fact. Because you can look at the relationships with the people. We have people in our government who are literally married to and sleeping with people in the media. You know, our main media is pretty far to one side, you know. That's not an accident. Our media is like Pravda. That's what it is. We don't really get the truth of anything. They're working with the government. That's what I think. I don't know what it's all about. I don't know what this whole sinister thing is about, dividing us, making us argue and everything. And this thing with me right now, I'm not angry. I'm not triggered. I'm not going to lose any sleep over this. I'm just addressing it because I think I just proved it. 100% straw man argument. Never say anything about the pipeline. That has nothing to do with oil production. The fact that when we were producing our own oil, those other countries didn't have enough money to do the things I said that they did in the first video is all still true. And you can't tell me that purchasing oil from the Middle East or other places and transporting here is a smarter deal than getting our own. Because it has an economic effect around the whole world. When America is strong, the world's a safer place. Now you can jump all over me all you want. I'm not going to argue with it. And I don't know if I'm going to respond to any more comments on the topic because that's not what this channel is about. But I just wanted to help you out with this because people get frustrated. And I wanted to drive home the straw man argument or the red herring thing where somebody just takes something, interjects it into a conversation to throw you off the topic and get you upset so you're not busy defending your position anymore and then that person feels like they won. And to people who aren't as intelligent who are listening, they think they did too. It's like the people that just speak up over the top of other people and don't let them speak anymore. Speaking over other people doesn't mean you've won an argument. It just means you're a jerk. So, yeah, I think I covered it there. So, dude, thanks for the comments. I've done this before. Go back and look. I did a couple on the Karen. I did a video and a Karen commented. I thought it was really funny, her comments, and so I did a whole video talking about her comment, and then I sent the link to her, and she did it again. So look for that one because it's hysterical because the comments under that with the people who watched it was very, very, very funny. Anyhow, look, I got to eat, and I got to get back to work. But if you're going to disagree with me, I don't care. It's fine. Good for you. I'm not going to try to you to convince. I'm not trying to convince you to think the way I do. All right, we come from different aspects of life probably, and I see things the way I see them, and I am in the homes of strangers all the time, wealthy people, because they're the only people who can afford me, here in Los Angeles, who all lean to one side. So when they meet me and they talk to me, and a perfect stranger to them, I go to a perfect stranger's house, I don't bring it up, they'll bring it up. There's been times where, usually it's about 2 to 3 hours I'm in there talking to them. Sometimes it goes 4 hours or more. And every time I ask them, I'm like, how often does this happen? Some guy just comes in your house and you have this conversation. Like, never. That's never happened. And then they love me and they give me a check to start a project. Even though we're diametrically opposed before we started talking. So I'm just saying, I don't like comments. I don't like typing responses to comments because I don't have the time for it. I'm taking the time right now. I multitask. I drove here, did something, and now I'm cooking. And, making the time for this now. But it's not because I'm irked or triggered. It's because I want to help you, the viewer, to understand. I want to drive this straw man argument home with you so that when you are trying to have a civil conversation with somebody and you've made a comment and then somebody questioned it and you've backed it up with logic and facts and they interject another thing that they can then easily tear down that you didn't say. They're basically putting words in your mouth. You can automatically stop them and go, hey, stop with the straw man argument, please. Stop with that. You're doing that because you can't defend this. It's the reason I love talking to vegans and telling them the reason you think and believe what you do is because you are starving your brain from the nutrients it needs, the proper amino acids, fatty acids, and proteins only found in animal products. There are no plant substitutes for those things, regardless of what people tell you. You can live on plants, but you're not fully feeding your brain all the way. That's a fact. So, anyhow, have a great day. Be kind to one another and stand up for yourself.